let's try this again. How goes it, my friends? This video is going to be about stuff and junk and shit and garbage and society. And I'm going to try to do it in a humorous way because junk and shit and garbage and society and stuff are all just part of who we are as people. And I guess I should be very specific as I start off here. I'm talking about all the needless junk that our society creates, advertises, manufactures, and convinces people that they need. Now, we're all exposed to this shit every day. I mean, there are so many things out there that we don't need, but that are interesting to have, or maybe it's something that helps us, or, excites us. It's not that the things that are, not imperative or not essentials, that we shouldn't have any, of course. We create a bunch of amazing things. Something is like a Rubik's Cube, or a puzzle, or a game. These are things that entertain us and we find useful. But any market that has, let's just say, I'll give you a perfect example, I guess, of what brought this on. I bought these, actually what inspired me to make the video was last night when I was at the pet store. I went down there to Petco to pick up some dog food, to find something my dog would like. And as I got up to the counter, I just looked at the racks and racks, fucking 4 feet high by 10 feet long, of doggy treats for like $5, $10, boutique dog treats and shit. And I thought, all these companies competing for attention, it makes me want to just withdraw and just kind of walk my path and do my own thing, which is what I do. But let's just put it this way, as an herb vendor, I try to only carry the best quality herbs and not just carry, useless things or lesser quality junk, because for the most part I know that as any vendor, if I'm buying anything, I want to get the best quality possible. So when it comes to like buying something like a pocket watch on eBay, the chain broke, of course, because they were garbage. I bought like 10 of these, and these were like a few bucks each. And, a nice looking little pocket watch, but the internal components are crap. The battery's a piece of shit. They die in a couple days. I bought some other ones that are like little ladybugs where the wings open up, and the chains you just pull and they just go tink. You can literally sit there and break them into little pieces. So here comes this chain with a pendant, and you touch it and it falls apart. It's basically like, here, buy this. It looks really pretty until you actually try to use it. And I, as a, conscientious human and an observer and a contributor and a member of society, there's no way that I could actually set up a manufacturing practice where I created and had a machine that made complete garbage chains like this and said, I know that nobody's ever going to be able to wear this necklace, and I know this watch is going to fall apart, but I'm going to sell it because I can sell them in quantity and in bulk, and then every little corner store can sell them for $5 or $10. And perhaps, there's nothing that's going to change because of this. As long as something can be manufactured and advertised, then people will manufacture and advertise it. But the whole way that the game is played with the stores and the products that are sold, the candy bar wars and whatnot, my wife asked a question yesterday, and it was a good, legitimate question that said, when you go into the grocery store, and they've got all these crap on the end caps, like candy bars by the checkouts, why can't they just have like little things of fresh fruit that people can buy? And I thought, that's a legitimate idea. And I was like, well, they got to keep it cold. And she's like, well, they have the energy drinks already there in a little fridge. Why not just have some fruit? And I thought about it for a second. It sounded legitimate. Instantly realized why. It's because the space, the cost of the space. Companies will pay millions of dollars to have their candy bars stocked in a prime location. They're called slotting fees. And if your company can't afford to put the product on the shelf, then you've got to be off in some other section down on the lower shelves and whatnot, or not even carried in the store whatsoever. This benefits the consumer by keeping fly-by-night companies out that just want to put out a crappy product that's maybe not well tested or known about, But on the other hand, it also keeps the big companies making their garbage and the smaller companies who are trying to compete with good products unable to come in. And I said, there's no way that the fruit companies can all get together and say, hey, let's all contribute so we can, get slotting fees for the, the ends of these aisles. And I guess what I'm saying is it's up to the consumer, it's up to us to be smart about these things. It's up to people like me to not buy shitty pocket watches just because they're cheap. And that's why I use it as an example, because I bought them for an event I was going to, and I was going to hand them out. But I'll probably give them away at like the Burning Man Soak next week. It's going to be an interesting summer, but I won't get into that. I just really, as a guy who likes stuff, and I've always liked stuff, I find myself surrounded by things. The wall I'm looking at is just covered with pictures and posters and pins and stuff, and sometimes I think I just want to take it all and throw it in a big fire and just be done with it. And then I realize that I get joy out of the things that I have, and that the things that I do buy, even if they're, even if I have a lot of random things, that they all serve various hobbies. And when I start thinking about a person who gets into a new hobby, let's say they want to start making something and they go out and they buy the most affordable components to make whatever they want to make. Let's say they want to get into guitar. And of course nobody's going to go buy a $1,000 guitar for their first guitar unless they're rich. So they go out and they buy one for a couple $100 and they play it. I'll give you an example. I bought my first guitar. It was a piece of shit, acoustic. I bought it used at a shop in Oregon City when I was like 16. I think I was high on acid that day. We took the bus out there, and I bought it, and we played by this waterfall. It was just a crazy day. The action on that guitar was so high, which the action is how close the strings are to the fretboard. And the higher the action is, the harder it is to play, because you have to push harder. So all the years I struggled to play on this half-assed guitar that I started with, and when I was finally able to move on to a better guitar, it was easier to play because I'd learned to do it the hard way, if that makes sense. And I'd never even played electric guitar until later, and then I realized, now I know why people can solo and fly off the fretboard on an electric guitar. I mean, it's just so easy. I still don't really play electric, even though I have one, but acoustic was always my thing. And I think this way about like other things, if somebody wants to get into a hobby or build something or create something, and they can do it with the cheaper components, and they're able to, get by using what they can, and then they can build themselves up. It seems like it gets easier as you go. And I guess, that would bring to question that the people who are struggling the most to make things happen have the best results because we've worked the hardest. A person may think that they're successful at business because they were already rich and they bought a small company and made a couple changes, and then that business took off, let's say, and made millions, and the person will feel like, oh, they created that money, or that they, but really it was the requirement of the whole business. It was everything all together, all the components that made it happen, plus the business that had existed beforehand, in other words, the demand for the product. And so we as consumers have the choice to demand a product that we want, or we can continue to bombard ourselves with junk. And I think things have, it's going to take a little while, because right now with all the Chinese garbage that's being sent over here, with eBay in the last 10 years, it's so much easier. If I want to order something, I can buy it from an American vendor, or I can buy it from a Chinese vendor for the price that the American vendor is buying it from. So it's kind of globalizing everything in a way, which isn't good or bad. It's just kind of neutral in this case. I mean, we want things to be affordable for everyone. I'll just leave you with this. When people say buy American, quite often what they mean is buy from an American company, which buys all their products from another country and then sells it to you for more expensive. So why should I put money in other people's pockets out of mine when I don't need to? Because the same amount of money is going to go to the vendor in another country who's selling this product, because it's just being bought by an American vendor. I don't know. Stuff. That's all I got. I could ramble on about stuff, but it's not going anywhere, so talk to y'all later.